Welcome back, YouTube. This is Baylor Mage, and I'm just going to do a final update on my Cast on Crit Trickster. We made a few little changes since last time, and there were a few changes I would have liked to made had I not had an unfortunate series of bad decisions on my part that culminated in me getting one shot and sent to standard. So we're going to go through them real quick. The first thing we did is we changed out of Shield Charge and into Leap Slam and dropped Flame Dash. So the reason we changed out of Shield Charge and into Leap Slam is so that we could also cross gaps, and that meant we could drop Flame Dash, which gave us an extra gem back, which means I removed my portal and put it in the off weapons, and I was able to fit Bone Chill, Vortex, and Hypothermia in as a 3-link. Now that's instant cast and on quite a short cooldown, which means you can do it while cycloning and never have to stop. The important part here is the Vortex itself doesn't actually do very much damage. Its damage over time is listed here as 10,000 cold damage per second, which it isn't. In Path of Building it works out to be like 80 to 100,000 or something like that, which is still not a lot, but it also adds nearly 220,000 DPS to my normal cock setup because of Bone Chill. So Bone Chill, great. Enemies chilled by supported skills have cold damage taken increased by chill effect. So we got a bunch of chill effect on Bone Chill and a bunch of chill effect on Hypothermia linked with our Vortex. Now we can just spam that for single target or for faster map clear. Now I'm just gonna jump into one of the maps I had left on my character just to quickly demonstrate some other things. We decided to try out slower proj in our weapon, so it's now Frostbolt. We've got a second Ice Nova and a slower proj. Now the reason I changed to this is because it was much better single target deeps.
Still sane, Exile.
But you can see that the balls travel relatively slowly and it's not fantastic for map clear. So I would honestly suggest using a different support like Cold Penetration for general mapping and then only changing into slower proj when you go for like proper bosses or hard content. Slower proj becomes a lot better for damage because the balls don't leave as quick, which means the vortexes themselves all overlap much closer to my character. But without slower proj, the clear is a lot better. The balls travel a lot faster. They often chill and freeze and even kill things off screen, especially if you had another support in it. So definitely I think general mapping should go without slower proj, probably with cold pen, but I would definitely be hot swapping into it for bosses. If you go to kill Shaper, Uber Elder, anything dangerous, it would go a lot better with slower proj in. Right, so the next upgrades I would have done, which would have been huge for the build, we're still lacking a little bit in effective life, and we're still lacking a little bit in damage, and we could have fixed both of these quite easily. So for starters, replacing Sintrak with just stand-in boots, I would have loved to have replaced them with some 180 to 200 ES boots that had move speed and some res on them to ease up gearing for my other slots. This shield was always supposed to be a temporary shield. You do not really want an evasion hybrid. You want a titanium spirit shield, a shaped one, a decent item level one. My suggestion would be to craft it with dense fossils because you need high energy shield, you need energy shield on block, and you really want some spell block on it. And the rolled spell block would actually cap my spell block, which I'm not spell block capped right now. I'm at 72% with Tempest Shield up. So getting a rolled spell block on it would be fantastic, but it's close enough if you have to craft it. It's fine. So yeah, titanium shield here. You should be easily able to get like a 350 to 400 titanium shield with energy shield to block. The helmet needed to be recrafted. That could have easily been 330, 340 on a helmet. The gloves were really good. I'm actually quite happy with them. The increased damage against chilled enemies was just a fantastic piece of like fluff extra damage to get. But the two really big upgrades that would have happened was I would have loved to have gotten a Hatred Crit Watcher's Eye, and I would have dropped these 3 energy shield nodes that are just floaters right now, and picked up spell damage, and a jewel socket right there. There's a jewel socket right there ready for it. And that Hatred Crit Watcher's Eye would have gone a long way And then my Elder Sadist Garb needed to be re-rolled with dense and serrated fossils until such time as I got a decent energy shield roll, a decent evasion roll, and crit 2 attacks. Doing both of those things would let me drop the crit strike support out and put in another proper support damage for Ice Nova. Probably Controlled Destruction, because we've got a lot of spell crit and we just didn't have enough attack crit. So yeah, those two things, and then swapping out a damage support here. And if we had have got that running, we should have been able to get up to about 10,000 effective energy shield, and we would have had about 1.2 to 1.5-ish mil damage for Shaper. So that would have been quite uber elder viable, quite fun to play, quite decent damage. I really enjoyed this build. It was super fun. I definitely suggest, if you're interested in it, to play it. This is the tankiest version of Cast on Crit I've ever seen. There are some much higher damage versions as Life Assassins. Much higher damage. I've seen them as high as 3.5, 4 mil with a budget that's a bit smaller than mine, but they don't have the tankiness to go with it. They are glass cannon builds, and I like not dying, even though I died. So I much prefer this version. It's just got a bit of a higher cost to getting it running, but it's not really that high. Really enjoyed it. Really strong. Really fun. Sad it went to standard. This is the first build I've been proper sad about dying on because I was not ready to stop playing it. But we're going to have to move on because that's the life of hardcore. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that leads people who are still playing this build into a good idea of how to continue further. And I am Baylor Mage, and I will see everybody later.